Well, happy Friday, everyone. Hello, Janie. I'm not sure if that's the way you say it. Is it Janie? Janie Ann? I'm not really sure. So I apologize. Hey, Sam. Hey, Joe. Joe, thank you so much for sharing my video with your wife, Debbie. I really appreciated that. She is so sweet. And I did tell her how much I love you because I think you rock. And I do want to say to everyone who watched my video that went out yesterday about my chronic pain, the kindness you guys showed me is so very appreciated because when you put yourself out there like that, you don't know if there's going to be some asshat that comes along and you just never know. You know what I mean? Well, the saga continues. So we're going to be going over some things. Now, I did find, okay, I have had two surgeries on my right arm for tennis elbow and golfer's elbow. I play neither. And back when I was teaching technology applications, I remember I was sitting in the computer lab and I asked my buddy who taught middle school at the time. I was teaching elementary and then like some pre elementary kids too. And I'm like, does your elbow and hand bother you? And it didn't. So I thought that it was just like a common thing. So no, I had issues. And that pain, I think right now, it doesn't show up because I'm dealing with so much elsewhere. So I had gone to a doctor and he did prescribe for me Oxy. And I went to go see him regularly. And he always told me basically I could take more because I wasn't like abusing it. I was being very cautious because I don't want to be addicted to something like that. Well, the last time I tried to contact him, because I think it was with this pain, he didn't have an office anymore because he apparently had been like overprescribing other patients or something. I mean, it was just, I was like, holy crap. But I was not one of the ones because I'm a responsible person. And I think that's part of the problem is that there are people who do abuse drugs. I'm not one of them. Hence, I did find a couple, in like I put them somewhere where I'm like, okay, I might need these sometime. So I took something, so it's relaxed me a little bit. I will tell you, oh, good Lord, the salon paw just got all kinds of, oh, just came on it. Oh, where did it go? Put it on the back of my neck and I don't know, it just disappeared somewhere. Anyway, so I'm going to tell you guys what has happened this week and then see if we can dive into some other things because I do think it's important to talk about this and I really believe in the US, our system is completely jacked up. And it is incredibly frustrating when you have issues and you seemingly can't get help. Now, mind you, this is the second pain doctor I've gone to because the first one realized that the treatments she could give me, it wasn't going to be enough. And the doctor I'm currently seeing, they can do some procedures either in a hospital or right there in their clinic. And so she sent me there. Well, I've been going to this doctor, this new pain doctor, for 7 months and never once have pain pills been offered. I've had radio frequency ablation, which I had to have, those two medial blocks to see if that would work. I've had these epidural steroid injections up in my neck or wherever it was. I've had the trigger point injections all along that never, ever once were pain pills offered to kind of like, kind of get you through sometimes or to help out. And before I ever had my first medial block, they were going to get back with me and let me know when to make, an appointment and stuff because they had to get approval from the insurance company. And during that time, that's when Tamale wasn't doing well and I wasn't doing well. I was feeling awful, but I was really worried about her. So I wasn't sleeping much because I was constantly checking on her. And I think a couple of months went by. I still hadn't heard from him. It wasn't until I called them and I'm like, yo, what is going on? When are we going to do this? They're like, oh, yeah. Blah, blah, blah. And then they started, scheduling it. But basically, I feel like I had to do their job. It's like, why in the hell am I having to follow up for this when you told me you're going to call me to schedule it? Why am I doing your job? Really flippin' irritating. So that's the first thing. After having the steroid injections, and it was like a day or two after I had those, and I called in to let them know I have had no relief. The only thing I got was a steroid pack to take. I don't know if you've ever taken that. It's a stair step kind of thing. You take like 7, then 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The first day, because I'm sure I have a lot of inflammation in my body from all this stuff. The first day when I took 7, it felt a little bit of relief, but not a lot. And so it really didn't help all the way through that. And so that's when we tried trigger point injections. And this was last week, like last Wednesday. And I let them know, I think that Friday, I'm going, okay, I'm not feeling any different. It's really bothering. I'm in a lot of pain. And I was told, wait 3 to 4 days. So that meant last weekend and last Friday, I just had to suffer. So all along, I've just continued to suffer and suffer and suffer and suffer and suffer. And again, never once were pain pills, offered to kind of like give some sort of buffer or something, anything, right? Not once. So that's really flippin' irritating as all get out. I'm drinking the smoothie I just made. So if you hear me pause, I'm probably taking a sip of it. I don't really have an appetite right now because I just feel like crap. And if I fix anything, even if it's popping it in the oven, it's like, oh, can I really? I don't know if I want to do that. But I did want something cold to drink because it's so flippin' hot outside. So after that, I was told to come back in and they were going to do the trigger point injections again. But then she decided not to do the trigger point injections again since they didn't work the first time. And that's when she was like, okay, I'm going to pull out the big guns, Botox injections. We're going to look for that. And also the spinal cord stimulator thing, which you have to get approval for all that stuff. I had to do the psych eval, which I've done. And I had to do blood work. Well, yesterday I went to go and do the blood work. On the form, it was written for a male, not a female. And last I checked, I'm a female. And so the place couldn't do it. So, I really shouldn't have been driving. I honestly shouldn't have because I felt horrible and I had no patience and I'm just going out of my mind. I'm in the parking garage and I'm just wanting to get out of there, go get a Starbucks at that point, which Starbucks was a clusterfuck. And that's a whole nother thing. And as I'm trying to leave, there's some asshat backing into a parking place. They're backing in a little, then the street. And it's taking them forever and a day. And I'm just like blaring on my horn because I'm like, for the love of God, no, that's holy, get out of my way. I just want to leave this damn parking lot. And of course, this person has no idea what's going on with me. Why would they? Nor should they care. But I was just like, again, I should not have been driving because I had no patience and I just didn't want to deal with anything. And then trying to get a Starbucks, well, that didn't happen because I just couldn't even figure out the little keypad thing. It was just like beyond me to try to do any of that. So the doctor on Wednesday prescribed medication called Belbuca. Well, of course, I didn't think they'd fill it on Wednesday because that's too soon. So started looking to see like, well, is this going to be filled? And so this is what I have found out since then. Oh, by the way, today I did do the blood work. I went somewhere else and I got that taken care of because I had to call the doctor's office and say, yo, you didn't write this correctly. I need one for female, not a male, because I'm a female, not a male. Anywho, taking a sip of said smoothie. I got a notice from Walgreens that they did not have the medication. And the clock is going tick a tick a tick a. We're getting closer to the weekend and closer to the weekend. And so I thought, well, let me call this pharmacy that I've used before that delivers and see if they have it. Well, they only had it in 150 and 400, and I was prescribed, my dosage is 300. So they didn't have that. Then I got another notice from Walgreens, and they needed prior authorization, which means the insurance company was not going to pay for it because they needed some kind of rationale from the doctor, need to fill out some kind of paperwork and send that to them, which takes up to 72 hours. So I had to let the doctor's office know about this. Well, they rushed that through and they sent it to another pharmacy. And so I had to call them. And it's a delivery pharmacy. I had to call them. Now, meanwhile, the doctor's office today closes at 3 o'clock. And so I call this pharmacy, give them all my information. And with my insurance, this one prescription is going to be around $200. And I don't know about you, but for one prescription, if I'm going to take this monthly, a prescription for $200 is not something I have in my budget. That is really a bit out of my league. So then I had to contact the doctor's office again and let them know this is how much it's going to cost me. And that's insane. I can't pay that. So the doctor's like, I mean, at this point, and I could even read, well, I won't read it to you, but I mean, at this point, and I'm doing this in text. I'm pretty much screaming because I'm so frustrated and so irritated. And I just don't feel like I'm getting, good customer service whatsoever. It's like I don't feel like I'm being heard. They're not really doing anything. And so now they're going to prescribe hydrocodone. And I'm like, I might as well lick chalk dust. That's not going to do anything. So then I think, well, you know what? Let me look on this drug's website. Let me see if there's some kind of discount card or something, which you would think the doctor would say something like that, there's a discount. They would give you some kind of information. You would think you don't have to run around the entire planet digging around, figuring all this shit out yourself, especially when you feel like crap. No, there's no samples because it's a controlled substance. So I did find that there was a discount card. So I called Walgreens about this, and they had the medication, but they needed the prior authorization. For some reason, I couldn't get it there, and I may have it mixed up. And so I asked about the hydrocodone. They had that. Problem is, they needed a diagnosis number or something, and they called the doctor's office, but the doctor's office was already closed. So I couldn't even get that. So I'm going another weekend with absolutely zero pain meds, feeling like absolute ass. Now, since I found that discount card thing, I did call the delivery one again to ask them because I didn't close until 5:30. They have it, but it can't be delivered to me until Monday between 11 and 6. And I don't even know if this stuff is going to work. So, I mean, I didn't want to pay $200 for something and it not work. Granted, I'm paying 50 something for it. I'm hoping it'll work, but I don't know if it will. But I'd rather pay 50 than, 200 to find out. I mean, it's just nuts. And the doctor had told me that anything else she had prescribed other than hydrocodone would also have to have prior authorization. Now, she should have known when she prescribed the Belbuca to begin with that it would need a prior authorization and got that shit taken care of instead of allowing me to suffer for more days. Suffering on Wednesday, leaving her office, suffering on Thursday, suffering today for the weekend. 5 more days of suffering that could have been avoided. Alas, it was not. So I'm just pissed. And I think I have a reason to be. And I think it's absolutely utter bullshit that people in the US are allowed to be in this amount of pain and not get anything to assist them. And I think it's bullshit that I got a lab work order that wasn't written correctly, that I had to get corrected from the doctor's office. And that the doctor's office did not put in a diagnosis code. So now the hydrocodone can't even be filled because they fucked up yet again. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. So I also today, because I'm like, I don't know if I want to go back to this doctor. I am just so frustrated. I contacted another doctor because that's associated with a hospital that I have several other doctors through. That's like it's like a pain center or something. And the first words out of their mouth was, the doctor doesn't prescribe any pain medication. We do hydrotherapy and this and that, blah, 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 blah. And I was just in my head, I'm like, bloody hell, are you fucking kidding me? Because most of that stuff I have done, and it has done dick all for me. I'm already, looking to do the Botox and looking to do the spinal cord stimulation. So I've been through a lot of shit. I need something so that I can hang on before I try the next thing. Meanwhile, still not knowing if it's going to help or anything. I did also today get contacted from the rheumatologist's office, which they sent me a message through my chart. I called them and I was told to leave a message with the answering service if they did not answer. I could not remember the name of the doctor because I've slept since then. And, I don't remember. And since I did not remember the name of the doctor, but I knew who had called me that person's name, the answering service couldn't help me. Is that not ridiculous? I think it's really stupid. I'm so spent. So I told my husband, because he came over here and he did a few things around the house for me. I mean, I was just like sobbing. And today also trying to do something. I use Storyline. I think I may have mentioned this. I did post on TikTok one of the things I was creating in Storyline. And I was making an interactive newsletter. And I had one of my colleagues review it, and I needed to make changes on it based on her feedback. But my brain is not fully functioning because I'm just like, the pain is just so much. So trying to kind of like piece things together that I know how to do is exceptionally difficult. And so I got on a call with her and I was like just sobbing. And I'm like, look, can you look at this other document for me? Because we have to send things into QA because we get scored. And I was planning on sending the newsletter in. But since I needed to make changes to it, today was not the day for me to work on that because no, not feeling like this. I couldn't do it. I'm like, can you please, check this out so I can submit this? And she did. And she also was like, go ahead and send me your storyline file. Let me see if I can, do some of that for you. Because she had some time on her hands. And I really appreciated that. But it's, I don't like leaning on my colleagues like that. But also, I'm not fully functional. And that's what's so frustrating. That is just so frustrating. Let's see what Vicky said. What goes on is a complete travesty. A lot of pharmacies won't even carry payments. Yeah, I had one pharmacist tell me he wouldn't fill my prescription because he didn't know my doctor personally. Get out. Get Vicky, seriously? Refused to fill something that you had a prescription for. How is that even possible? Did you report the pharmacist? Surely there's somewhere to report that shit to. Holy crap, that's ridiculous. I'm so sorry, sweetheart, that happened to you. That is not right. And that is, oh, that makes me so angry. That makes me so, so, so angry. Let me see what some of the things that Joe said. Joe said, when there were hearings about opioids ODs, there were the family members of those who died. No one spoke up for those who needed them. And that's a problem because there are people who actually need help. And sometimes you get to a point, that's what you need. You've exhausted everything else. Nothing else is working. I've told the doctor before, if you told me eating a cat turd would take away my pain, I'd be chasing a cat saying, here, kitty, kitty, waiting for the cat to shit. Because it's like, I am just desperate. And that's the thing that makes me think, okay, there's a lot of health and wellness multi-level marketing companies out there. When you are desperate because you are in pain, you become willing to try things that are quackery. They're pseudoscience because you're desperate. You want anything and they'll try it all because you just want it to go away. You want some sort of relief. And that's really dangerous. It's really dangerous because then you're preyed upon by unethical businesses. And not only that, I think, I don't know if I told you guys this in the video or not, but so what if I'm repeating myself? But I did look at my doctor and I said, what does it take for me to get something to relieve my pain? Do I have to go to the 5th ward, which is a rough area of town, and find a drug dealer to get something? And I mean, I don't even know how to do that. I don't know how to find a drug dealer. I don't even know how to ask for, I don't have a clue how to do any of that. But I think that there are probably people who do suffer from pain or something that do turn to street drugs. So instead of our doctors prescribing something that would help, people then turn to things that can be dangerous and lead to overdose, lead to people no longer being here because they're desperate, or start drinking heavily to dull their senses because of the pain they're in. And so, you wonder why the alcoholism, it runs rampant. Well, people are trying to, relieve pain. Becky Boo, I agree with you. It's gone from one extreme to the other. Yep. I absolutely agree with you. I love your little avatar. I'm guessing you have a Chihuahua. I love Chihuahuas. Your doggy is absolutely adores. Go to a doctor in Mexico. I'd have to get my happy ass there first. And that would be a challenge right now. But, that's something that we may need to look into. I don't know. It's just, I am, I I am going to go to that rheumatologist because, there could be something else going on too, beyond the arthritis in my back, beyond the pinched nerves, beyond the bulging discs. There could be other things going on that have yet to be diagnosed. And never once has my doctor said, well, you might want to go to a rheumatologist also and, check that out. I'm doing that on my own. And I've also thought about a neurologist. Do I need to do that as well? I already went to the orthopedic surgeon who said, go to a rheumatologist, which I had already had on my list, but I'm trying to like just kind of go down a list and, check off different things. Chalupa, why are you crying? You're going to have to be a boxy boy because I can't open the door for you, sweetheart. Boxy. Did you hear that? Attitude. Boxy boy. Okay, Becky Boo says one mistake that happened was allowing the insurance company to decide what they cover or not. Oh my gosh, it is insane. And somebody told me, and I do have some articles and stuff. Let me see if I can find this person's message. I can't remember the name of the company, but it's a doctor working for, oh, here it is. Over a period of 2 months last year, Cigna doctors denied over 300,000 requests for payments using a method spending an average of 1.2 seconds on each case. That's just wow. That's just flipping wow. Let me see if let me pull up an article. Yeah, Vicky, that's what I'm going to do is go to different specialists because it's like, why not? Why not? It's like I feel like, but it's also really hard for me to look that stuff up and call and do all of it because I feel like absolute ass. And so I'm just trying to push through and do some of these things. It's just so hard. It's just so hard. And Becky says, like it used to be a doctor wrote a prescription, it was covered, no. Yep, I remember them days. I remember them days well. And no more. No more. You got to go through all kinds of things and prove you really need something. It is frightening. Vicky says there is a pain management doctor in Nevada that is helping get the word out. He is working with pain patients and is on Twitter. Oh, what is his handle or her handle on Twitter? Because I want to follow that person. Monhun, hey, how are you doing, sweetie? Imagine how creative the insurance companies will become in denying even more claims with the proliferation of AI. Wow, that is scary as fuck. And we're just all left out in the cold. And I do think this will increase the use of street drugs, honestly. I really do. Or people going, down to Mexico or like looking for alternatives because of the frustration. And here we are in the US with like the crappiest, healthcare system. And doctors afraid to prescribe something, afraid to prescribe opioids to patients who could actually use them. Ridiculous. Joe says, Al. We call AI Al. It's a joke that goes back to On Passive. And if you have not been around for my coverage of this allegedly scammy company On Passive, it's just kind of our ongoing joke of Al for AI. Exactly. The so-called greatest country on earth and leaves people to suffer all the time. And I'm sick of it. I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore. And I might just have to keep ranting about this bullshit because that's exactly what the fuck it is. It's just bullshit. No one should be made to suffer. And I certainly should not be seeing a pain doctor for 7 months and never once be offered pain medication. when there are things that they're doing that's not working, especially when they had to like file to be able to do the first procedure and they knew it was going to take like up to 4 weeks and it was longer because they never got back in touch with me. I should have been given something to hold me over, and I wasn't. And at that time, I was just kind of I was being nice, and I was just kind of like going along with the system. I am done being nice. And today, my doctor had the nerve to say, if you are going to yell, because I had used all caps in a text, yell at us, I will have to discharge you. And I wanted to say, go fuck yourself. Because it's like, how dare you? I've been going to you for 7 months and paying you money, and I've gotten dick all. Monhun says, insurance companies have become the death panels people feared the Affordable Care Act would create. Privatization of the U.S. healthcare industry is an embarrassment. I would say absolutely it is. Absolutely. Vicki says that she had a wonderful doctor, but she left, and the physician assistant who took her place wants me off all meds. It's just devastating. Like yelling isn't normal when in pain. Exactly. That's the thing. That's the thing. When you are at your wits' end and hanging on by a thread, wouldn't you expect someone to yell and complain? Holy crap. Monhun says, I can get more affordable personalized healthcare visiting a developing country than in the US, to the tune of 80 to 90% cheaper than in the US with insurance. It's crazy. That is insane. That is absolutely nuts. Is it Janie Ann? Am I saying your name correctly, sweetie? Please let me know, because if I said it incorrectly, I don't mean to. I screw up saying names sometimes, and I apologize. So her GP sent her to an orthopedic surgeon so that she could get injections in her neck and shoulders. I go see him, say my pain is at an 810. He didn't even touch her. Gave me a sheet of, oh my fucking God, exercises do me. Fucking do me. Here, just do these. Yeah, I have some exercises to do too. Physical therapy. And there's nothing wrong with physical therapy, but there comes a time when so much is going on and you're in such pain. Just doing physical therapy ain't cutting it. That's exactly what it feels like, that they just throw out physical therapy as the cure all. And there is some of the physical therapy that I've done where I'm like, okay, I need to stop doing this because it hurts when I'm doing it. It's uncomfortable. Some of the exercises that I was doing, I had to sit up, and I'm sitting up in my living room, and I have like a yoga mat down. It's too uncomfortable for me to sit up like that. And I'm like watching the little tablet screen and stuff. Sure, I could move to my couch or something maybe, but I just wanted to do everything in one spot. I have a thing called an occipital float, so there's some other things that I do laying down. That's much more comfortable because I'm not putting extra stress on my back. I'm just so, ugh. And I'm glad that I'm not alone. I'm really upset that you guys have also gone through shit and are going through shit. Vicky says, I'm near if I can talk, near Mexico, but the fentanyl or something else unknown in them can be dangerous. Yeah. There is a tester for it, though. Might just have to go. Well, Vicky, sweetie, if you do, let me know. Because I've thought about that too. I mean, getting fentanyl, that's gotta be absolutely, probably near next to impossible to do because of people misusing it. And again, I mean, that's something I would not misuse. I'm sure you would not either. And those of us who are responsible with meds just get left in the dust. Now, one of the comments from my video yesterday, which by the way, today I attempted to film a video where I was showing you all the contraptions I've bought on Amazon that are available on my Amazon store, which a lot of these things make it feel better, kind of, but at the time that I'm using them, but there's like no lasting relief, if that makes sense. Thank you, Andy. I appreciate that so very much that you love my channel. I really appreciate that. Okay, I'm going to get one of these articles, and I have a question for any of you because I know Joe follows this. I'm sure that you've seen the shenanigans with Foodie and now this Marty guy that's like kind of going after Foodie, which man is like, man, you are getting what you deserve, girl, because you are just vile. And I've been kind of like going, kind of clapping my hands. I do not condone the stuff that Marty's been doing or anything, but I'm just like sitting back with some popcorn. Okay, popcorn that I'm pretending I have, pretend like I have popcorn. I'm just chomping on it and going, okay, let me just watch this because it's just like, you know what? Foodie Beauty or Chantal is just absolutely, again, the most vile human I've ever come across. And I think maybe sometime I'll stream about that because I just think it's interesting to talk about. I think the woman has some serious mental issues. And the thing about her that really pisses me off is how she treated her animals. And now seeing her with another cat, I just come unglued. Oh, good Lord, Chalupa, I don't know what you want, honey. You're a medical assistant, a bomb party rep. You do bomb party. Okay, you know I've done videos on bomb party. But okay, Andy, as a medical assistant, what can you shed any light in terms of how patients are treated or mistreated or maybe not diagnosed correctly or not prescribed medications that could help them or what's going on with any of that? I'd appreciate it. So because one of you good people sent me some articles, and I have them pulled up on my other browser. I'm going to have to bring them on over here. I may have to pop up for a moment and let Chalupa out because he's sitting there just looking so pathetic. My poor boy. He just has the rough life. I felt so bad yesterday when I screamed at him, but that's what pain will do. What can I say? Why can't I copy this? Okay, I'm going to have to see if I can find this again. Let me go look at over here. Which one is this? Is this? No. Why am I now having problems trying to find things? What is this titled? I may just have to read it from here. Oh, there we go. Okay. There, I got the... I'm having problems with remembering how to do very, very basic things because of the pain. And I'm going to pop up for a moment and open the door since Chalupa is a whiny boy right now and looking pathetic. So give me just a minute. Talk amongst yourselves. And of course, Salsa hops up too. What just went flying down out of the remote? Here, you want a glass, sweetheart? Here's a baby boy. There you go. There you go. Get some water. Do what you want to do. Okay, now I've got to readjust myself because I have my setup, which is insane looking. If you guys saw what this looked like, you would either laugh or cry. I'm not sure what. But it's how I have to get comfortable in bed to do this streaming stuff. And when I say comfortable, it's not all that comfortable because I'm never really comfortable being in this pain and stuff. Okay. But I think you guys know kind of what I mean. So let me see what Andy said. And thank you for saying that my opinions are valid. Okay, she says that people are not treated like people. That's kind of what it feels like to me. And you care about people. I care about people too. And you believe the healthcare system is flooded with patients and not enough staff that's properly trained. Oh, yeah. That's the same thing with the educational system. My husband told me that today he received a call from the bus driver to pick up my stepsons, his sons, and he was told like what time the bus was coming, and it's like a sub driver, and those boys have subs like all the time, and then there's a sub for the sub, then there's a permanent sub. I mean, it's like they can't keep teachers. And I mean, having been a teacher and knowing what's going on now, especially our youngest this year, and I'll probably do a video on some of this, like go into more details about it. But based on his behavior for the past 2 years, he is not going to be in the regular classroom. He is going to be in a classroom that the max number of people in there is 10 students. And it's for the worst students in the entire school. And so, yeah, one of my stepsons, one of the worst kids in the school. So proud. So very proud. Let's see. Teachers are very much so underpaid. They are. Doctors are too busy because of the lack of staff. Most hospitals are, yeah, everywhere. Like there's so many issues. So many issues, and it's not fixed easily. All right, let me go ahead and share my screen and find this. I have not read this. This was shared with me by one of you good people. Actually, several articles were. And please forgive me if for some reason, if I misread something, if I stammer, if I sound odd, or I'm having trouble getting words out. It's just because the pain and things are hard for me, and I'm trying to finish my damn smoothie before it's like completely watery. Let me actually finish some of that. You're having trouble finding a job? Andy, where do you live? What state? I'm presuming you're in the U.S. You have an associate's degree, and you're really, what state do you live in? Because, I mean, here in Houston, we have the largest medical complex in the world, which at some point I am going to do a video on that because I think it would be really interesting for people to see how massive it is. And I'm going to have my husband drive as I film it. And I can't remember, there's well over 80 parking garages in the medical area. You're in southern Louisiana. Okay. Okay. Well, would you ever consider moving to Texas? Would you ever considering working in the medical center? Because I know that there's usually a lot of jobs in the med center. Because that could be an option. So I don't know if you'd be willing to move or if you're if it would be possible for you to move. I'm just offering that to you, knowing that because we have such a huge ass, med system here. And I would be happy to tell you like places where I would look if I were you in terms of if you did want to move here to the Houston area. And I think I still know someone who I've known two people who are not like they work in the office side of the medical center for one of the hospitals. I don't remember which one off the top of my hair. Yeah, they do have amazing facilities. So would you be willing to come here? You've seen job openings. And I want to say a friend of ours, she's a nurse. She moved to Austin. I don't remember if she moved back to be a nurse or not, but I could ask. I mean, there's probably people that I could ask. Is basically I could get some guidance. You would, so you'd be interested in coming here? Okay, I want you to email me. I mean, it's on my channel and everything on how to do that, but I'm going to put it in chat. Email me. And, if you want to, we can hop on, a Zoom or what have you and chat about it if you like. I'm happy to help you look at that. And if you pull up some jobs and everything and you're like, okay, I'm thinking about this place or this place, I'll be happy to look at that with you. And I'd be more than happy to help you like look for apartments or places to live, areas that I consider safe or decent and stuff because I'm a native Houstonian. And so I know things about Houston. Not everything, because there's been a lot of changes, but I know things. So please email me and I will see how I can help you. You are so very welcome. So very welcome. All right. Now, let me take the last big sip of my smoothie because it's like all watery now, but I want to finish it. Okay, now I just have my water left. Okay. Research summary. The U.S. healthcare industry is the third largest in the country, and it impacts the life of almost every American. The fact is that the U.S. spends the most on healthcare than any other country, but U.S. citizens are still fronting most of the costs. Overall, after extensive research, our data analysis team concluded that healthcare spending represented 18.3% of the U.S. economy in 2021, with $4.3 trillion in revenue. 14% of U.S. adults are employed in the healthcare industry. An average American couple aged 65 and over needs around $315,000 saved for medical expenses during retirement. Holy crap, I'm not going to ever be able to retire then. 43.4% of adult Americans are inadequately insured, and 20% don't have the means to access needed health care. That is absolutely frightening. And being 59, that scares the bejesus out of me of not being able to access stuff. The U.S. ranks as the 35th healthiest country in the world. As of 2020, 1/3 of U.S. adults had a telehealth visit for themselves or a dependent. For further analysis, we broke down the data in the following ways: cost, patient use and opinion, and technology. Healthcare spending made up 18.3% of the U.S. economy. Okay, we already read that. Just a little graphic. General U.S. healthcare industry statistics. Healthcare is the third largest industry in the U.S. As of 2021, healthcare spending represented 18.3% of the U.S. GDP, which increased from 5% just 60 years ago. Holy crap. This growth represents a range of factors from new healthcare treatments and services to better coverage, higher utilization, and rising prices across many of the industry sectors, including health insurance, healthcare marketing, pharmaceuticals, healthcare tech, health administration. While expansion is positive, it's essential to note that healthcare is growing as a share of the economy and government budgets in ways that appear unsustainable. In 2021, healthcare revenue in the U.S. totaled $4.3 trillion. This amounts to $12,914 being spent per person on healthcare, and it's an increase of 2.7% from 2020. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I do know that it seems each year, say I get a cost of living adjustment from my employer, well, there is an increase in what I have to pay for health insurance. So by the time I subtract what I have to pay additionally for healthcare insurance from my cost of living adjustment, the adjustment ends up being negligible, which is really shameful. It's like it's not keeping up. It's like all kinds of askew. Hence, YouTube, I make a couple $100 a month. I mean, it's not a lot, but it's something, you know. It's hobby money, and that's okay. I talk about stuff that's important to me. However, by 2024, different healthcare sectors are forecasted to earn the following profits. Oh, geez. Healthcare IT, 27.9 billion. Distribution and pharmacies, 18.9 billion. Payer, which I don't know what that is, 116.6 billion. Provider, which I'm guessing that's doctors, 197.8 billion. MedTech, 72.1 billion. Pharmaceuticals, 169.9 billion. Holy crap. 1 in 8 U.S. citizens is employed in the healthcare industry. The U.S. healthcare and social assistance sector boasts a total of 907,426 businesses, 20 million employees, over 1 trillion in annual payroll as of 2018, along with more than 1.2 million job openings per year. With so much money flowing into the system, jobs in the industry come with meaningfully higher wages. The average healthcare employee salary in the U.S. is $60,976 compared to the national average of $47,060. And stats show that the industry will continue growing. Healthcare employment is expected to increase by 15% through 2029, an additional 2.4 million jobs, which is much faster than the average for all occupations. Growth will happen so fast that by 2030, America will have about 122,000 unfilled posts for physicians. Wow. Not all jobs in the healthcare industry pay more than the national average. While America's aging population will increase the future demand for healthcare services, not all occupations in the sector will see a pay increase. For example, positions like registered nurses, physicians, surgeons, and dental hygienists are at the upper end of the pay scale. On the other hand, in healthcare supports occupations including home health aides, occupational therapy assistants, and medical transcriptionists earn less than the median annual wage, $29,960 as of May 2020. CVS Health Corp is the biggest US-based healthcare company with annual revenue of $315.2 billion. This is followed by United Health Group and McKesson Corp. Here is the breakdown of the 10 largest healthcare companies in the US as of the end of 2020. So we have CVS, United Healthcare, the McKesson, Amerisource, Bergen, Cardinal, Cigna, Elevance, Centene, Walgreens, and Pfizer. There are approximately 6,210 registered hospitals in the U.S. When Americans are admitted to one of these hospitals for acute care, they stay on average 5.5 days. Chalupa, do you need up here? Hang on, let me help this poor child. I think he wants to get back up. Yeah, he doesn't like the fact that Salsa is at the end of the bed, so he will not get up when she's there. So I've got to help him up on the bed. Where's my boy? Where did you go? Where are you now? Oh, you're under the chair? Come here, baby. Come here. Come here, honey. Come here, baby. Come here. You guys hearing all that? Brother and sister going at it. So he was hiding under this little chair that I had in the corner that has two dolls my mother made for me, Raggedy Ann and this other one that I just have called Bob. I don't know his name. It's not Raggedy Andy. But those two dolls are very dear to me because my mama made them for me. And if you guys have seen the video of me when I talk about my pain story, the paintings behind me were created by my Aunt Eva, and they were in my room when I was a baby. Okay, Joe. Night, night. Let's see. So Monhan says, for comparison, the global average is only 10.9% of country's GDP. The UK's healthcare spent was only 11.3% of the GDP. The only country outranking the US is, I'm not going to be able to say that, this country that starts with a T, with their whopping 10,000 residents. Alb says, we spend more, but the UK has people pulling their own teeth, really, with pliers because the wait times to get in to see a dentist leads to their teeth rotting. Holy crap. Canada has people being encouraged to accept what? To accept euthanasia if their health problems are even remotely serious. Seriously? Wow. Ah, wow. And Monhan does say that they know several people personally who have not gotten dental and medical treatments due to the out-of-pocket costs. And I'm one of them in terms of dental stuff because right now I'm dealing with all this pain stuff. I need to have a deep cleaning done on my teeth. And I have to kind of weigh where am I going to put my money. And right now, I'm really focused on trying to find something to alleviate pain. So it's like the dental stuff has to wait. I have to kind of like pick and choose what I can do, which is, it's just frustrating. It's just really frustrating. Let's see. Might see if I can find, I'll let you look at that. Let me see if I find one of these other articles. Because like I said, I haven't really looked at them closely. Chalupa, I don't know why. Okay, now Chalupa has jumped down again. and he's whining. Why are you being a whiny baby? Okay, I think I will share this one with you. So we'll just move on to the next article because I'm not going to be able to finish reading everything. If you hear the whining, sorry, Chalupa being a whiny baby and me not knowing what he wants. Is it this one? Yeah, I think it's this one. Okay. Trying to make sure I'm getting the right article. Chalupa, you want to be a boxy boy? All right. Big Pharma's big tax dodge. There's a mystery lurking in America's national medicine cabinet. Americans pay the highest prices in the world for life-saving medicines, roughly triple what people in the world's other big economies pay for the same name brand on patent drugs. The cost of producing a medicine generally doesn't vary much, so it stands to reason that the US's big pharmaceutical companies should therefore earn far more in the US than they earn elsewhere. Simple math. But take a look at the corporate disclosures of America's largest pharmaceutical companies, and a puzzling hole opens. The six major U.S. pharmaceutical firms that provide fairly detailed data reported making $215 billion worth of sales in the U.S. for 2022. Given America's systematically higher prices, their sales abroad were logically more modest, totaling $170 billion. Despite this discrepancy, the companies reported earning very, very little in profits, in some cases, absolutely nothing in the US. Of their 100 billion combined profit, the companies said 90 billion was made abroad, while a paltry 10 billion came from their US operations. That comes out to a profit margin of 5% in the US and a margin of over 50% abroad. What's going on? Tax avoidance, of course. When questioned, pharmaceutical companies inevitably respond that they pay all the tax that they legally owe. A Merck representative, for example, said that Merck complies with all tax rules on a worldwide basis. But these explanations are a smokescreen. Most of America's major pharmaceutical companies have simply perfected the art of legally shifting the profit on their U.S. sales out of the country to low tax jurisdictions. It is undeniably allowed by the tax law, but it is still an outrage. Americans are not only paying through the nose for their prescriptions, yep, but also receiving none of the benefits from having a robust American pharmaceutical industry. The tax revenues from U.S. sales are being paid abroad rather than being reinvested in new research at the National Institutes of Health. Pharmaceutical manufacturing jobs are being created abroad rather than at home. While the battle to lower drug prices is likely to drag on for years, there are clear ways for the U.S. to prevent this sort of profit shifting that will not only make the tax system fairer, but also allow Americans to recapture some of the value they're creating for these giant companies. Pay no attention to the profits behind the curtain. To get a sense of just how much money these pharmaceutical companies are moving around, it's useful to look at a case study. Take AbbVie, the producer of the blockbuster immunosuppressive drug Humira, which is used to treat a variety of conditions, including arthritis and Crohn's disease. An investigation by Democratic Senator Ron Wyden of Oregon found the company booked 99% of its profit abroad in 2020, despite generating only three-quarters of its sales overseas. Most recently, AbbVie, or however you say it, is actually losing money in America. The company reported a $5 billion loss in the U.S. operations in 2022, while generating an $18 billion profit outside the US. Rather remarkably, AbbVie reported only $12 billion in non-US sales, meaning its reported profit outside the US exceeded its revenue. AbbVie is a especially poignant example, but it's hardly alone. Merck, the maker of the blockbuster and expensive drug Keytruda, reported earning only $1 billion in profit on its $27 billion in U.S. sales in 2022, while reporting that it earned $15 billion abroad on its $32 billion in sales overseas. Pfizer, which famously produced the first mRNA coronavirus vaccine, now reports, unlike in the past, making a bit of money in the US. Even then, the discrepancy is quite large. $5 billion in the US in 2022 and $30 billion abroad. Before the surge in revenues and profits associated with its successful vaccine, Pfizer somehow always seemed to lose money in the US. At this point, profit shifting is the industry norm. Of the 8 biggest U.S. pharmaceutical companies, only Gilead reports earning the majority of its income in the U.S. The other 7 companies appear to have paid the U.S. government just over $2 billion on their $108 billion global profit in 2022. This sum includes Eli Lilly, which reports the distribution of its tax payments, but not the distributions of its earnings. Governments outside the U.S. actually collected more tax revenue from these 7 American pharmaceutical companies than the U.S. government, $11.5 billion. Large legal loopholes. The offshore migration of these pharmaceutical companies' profits may seem egregious, but the tax gymnastics are generally legal. In fact, the U.S. corporate tax code effectively incentivizes American pharmaceutical companies to play this game. Wow. Wowsy wow. Wow on that. So Jenny Ann says, I don't expect anything from my healthcare providers than my meds, Lyrica and Cymbalta. Do those work? No, not really, but I've been on them too long. Okay, so I don't know what Lyrica and Cymbalta are for. And I also wanted to look up something for you because this is what I'm dealing with. All right. So the health care that I have through my employer is called UMR, and it's through United Healthcare, but it's not United Healthcare. UMR is United Healthcare's third-party administrator. So I want to look at that. Because I think this is also a problem, having this third-party type thing too. I don't know if you guys have run into that, because I am definitely having issues of like everything is needing to like somehow being extra documented or something. It's like they don't want to do anything. And it's really frustrating. And I have had United in the past, and it was excellent. And what I have now is pretty much crap. And I've spoken to my manager about this, and she's even said this is the worst healthcare she has seen the company offer ever. And she's been with the company for a really long time. So this says UMR, United Healthcare's third-party administrator, TPA solution, is the nation's largest TPA third-party administrator. As a United Healthcare company, UMR has long been a pioneer in revolutionizing self-funding. We focus on delivering customer solutions that meet their goals and strategies. This includes supporting member health and helping to interpret changes in the insurance landscape along the way. UMR meets customers and members where they are, do they? UMR's customer first service, really. philosophy centers on listening, really listening to our customer needs and understanding the member experience. But there's things that they don't cover, like anything related to weight loss. Nope, won't cover it. It's just like there's so many things, just won't cover it. This informs every plan decision from start to finish. We now serve over 5 million members with custom plan designs, cost containment solutions, and innovative services. For over 70 years, UMR has been building lasting relationships, and it shows in our loyal and long standing customer base. You know, what I think it shows is that the companies using this are paying less for it, and their employees are receiving less service in healthcare because their employer are getting a cheaper solution because they want to have more profits for their shareholders. That's what I think is going on. Okay, it's for nerve pain. I have nerve pain too, I believe. Like that's what a lot of this is going on. And I am kind of wondering if I have fibromyalgia or not. I don't have like all over body pain per se, but it's like my head, along my jaw, my neck, my shoulders, my back, and it kind of is now like radiating towards my ribs and to the front of my chest or something. So I, like I said, I have not been diagnosed with that, but I have wondered if I have that or not. And is there a test that you took to be diagnosed with fibromyalgia? How were you diagnosed for that? I'm really curious. Because again, I feel like I don't know if I have a proper diagnosis, meaning I don't know if everything has been identified and if I am receiving all the care that could help me have a more that would increase the quality of my life, because right now the quality of my life is very low considering I really don't go anywhere. And that's why when I watched the videos of Amberlynn Reed, and I hear people like complaining, well, she never goes anywhere, she does her vlogs always in the apartment. I really relate to her always being at home because I rarely go anywhere because I feel like crap. I went out to eat with my husband in November, and then 7 months later, I was like, I went out to eat with him again. It's like I don't go anywhere. I don't do anything because I feel awful all the time, and I don't want to put other people through that, or go somewhere with my husband to see friends, and then I'm there for 10 minutes. I'm like, look, I just can't handle it. I want to go home, because that would be irritating for him. Monhan says it's even more disgusting than tax avoidance, as taxpayers subsidize a healthy portion of the underlying research and development for these pharmaceutical companies before granting them 20-year patent protection. Boxy puppy. Boxy. Boxy puppy. Do you guys hear him whining, growling, in general? Not being happy with mommy. On paper, America's corporate tax rate is 21%, but the country's largest and most profitable pharmaceutical companies don't pay anything close to that. The effective tax rate for most of the big pharmaceutical companies on the profits they keep in the U.S. is much closer to 10%. But since most of their profits are shifted overseas, the eighth largest U.S. pharma company end up paying about 3% of their global profit to the U.S. Treasury. Most average American households have a far higher tax burden, so very true. Companies' ability to keep their U.S. tax bill low is made possible by the U.S.'s treatment of money made overseas. Through 2017, U.S. companies were allowed to indefinitely defer U.S. tax payments of profits earned offshore. Many companies, unsurprisingly, found ways to move profits to no tax jurisdictions in the Caribbean and Europe. The most common way to do this was by parking their intellectual property, such as the patents that give them a legal monopoly to sell a drug they've developed, in no or low tax jurisdictions. Add in overseas manufacturing, and almost all profits earned on U.S. sales were shifted to the low tax jurisdictions. AbbVie, for example, located the right to profit from Humira in its Bermuda subsidiary and manufactured the drug in Puerto Rico, which is considered outside the U.S. for tax purposes since the island is a territory rather than a state. So all the profit for the drug was technically attributed to the division in no tax Bermuda. Even though the profits were being legally booked as profits in the Caribbean or Irish subsidiary of the U.S. firm, in many cases, these companies kept the funds in a U.S. bank account or invested in U.S. bonds. The firms could even take out a loan in the U.S. using the overseas cash as collateral, so clearly the money wasn't trapped offshore. The overall result was a mess, and there was no doubt that the corporate tax code needed to be reformed. But instead of solving the problem, the 2017 Trump corporate tax reform made it worse. The law imposed a special 10.5% tax rate on profits made outside the U.S. This would seem to solve the issue. Money parked in other countries was still subject to collection from the Treasury, but the new rules allowed companies to blend all of their foreign profits together in one big pot. A company with some profits in a high tax country such as Germany could use its mandatory payments there to offset some of the earnings attributable to no tax jurisdictions such as Bermuda. It couldn't do the same with its US profit. So, with a bit of accounting, companies could avoid paying the minimum tax on their offshore income. The overall result was an American last tax code. U.S. pharmaceutical firms got a big tax cut, while the incentive to move production of new drugs to low cost jurisdictions such as Ireland remained. Wow. Just wow to all of this. To all of this. Well, guys, I don't think I can finish really reading much more. Mm. My voice is kind of giving out on me, and it's hard for me to continue because of the pain. But I am going to look up this Lyrica and Cymbalta. Let me write that down so that I remember to look it up. How do you spell it? Cymbalta. Okay, have those written down. I'm going to try tomorrow to make the video where I share with you guys all of the things that I have purchased, trying to find things to help me in terms of alleviating the pain. And like I said, some things, they feel good, uh, but the pain's still there, which is ever so annoying. And what I fear is that I'll be living the rest of my life feeling like this, which is going to mean that I'm basically going to be a shut in, not really going anywhere. And that's so unfair to my husband because, I want to be able to go to places with him, but I can't do that when I feel like ass. And I may look into, because I know I have a friend of mine who divides his time between Mexico and here because his partner lives in Mexico. So I may reach out to him. I've known him for a very long time. So it may come down to that. I don't know. But I am going to get down on the go-go and try to relax. And hopefully I will get that video made tomorrow and I'll be able to get it edited. And for some reason it's taking like a long time for things to upload, and there's probably some setting I can change on my camera, but it's a little bit, these are the things that are hard for me. It's like figuring that out and putting those pieces together becomes a bit overwhelming. And that really bothers me. It really bothers me a lot because I am a smart cookie, but right now I just feel like I feel like I am just not the sharpest knife in the drawer, so to speak. Oh, your voice was affected by the fibromyalgia also? Yeah. Yeah, I know that I sound different because of the pain. And it's, you can't control that, you can't control it. I know definitely, especially with work, when I hop on calls and when I'm in meetings, I know people are probably wondering what's wrong with me. And there are some people that know, but most people don't. And it's not like I'm going to go around telling everybody. But some key people do know. It's just really hard because there's like extra things that I normally do for work, but I can't do more because I am struggling just to do the minimum of what I need to do because of the pain. And because I'm just trying to get by through each day. Well, I hope you guys, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for listening to me. And thank you so much for sharing your own pain issues. And I'm glad we can at least find solace with each other. But something about our system, it needs to change. And I don't know what can be done. I don't know how to voice our opinions other than, write to our representatives. And this is something that I could research, but I'm not mentally at a place to do that because it takes too much out of me. And like I said in my video that was posted yesterday, sometimes, most of the time, all I can do right now is just breathe. And that's a struggle too. Okay, guys, again, thank you for being here. I appreciate it. I appreciate each and every one of you. I appreciate my mods. Thanks for being here. And thank you for anybody who's lurking. Thank you for participating in the chat. Enjoy the rest of your evening. And don't forget, you're beautiful and I love you. Until next time, good night, everyone.